Hey everybody, welcome back to Acre Talk Podcast. I'm Dale, and it's been a while.
Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other. So far as the echo, where do we start? You can learn to discover a million.
Season 2, Acre Talk Podcast. Thought we would do a first episode drop in. Let you guys know we are planning on continuing the 9-Acre Talk Podcast. More to come with homesteading, gardening, farming, all the above. We left off with starting a cattle talk with Johnny from Gillum Farms, and we may bring on some special guests with him this season. More special guests, more different types of livestock. We'll start getting into some of the more niche livestock that you can have on your homestead. Give me a little coffee there. Wet the whistle. But we're also gonna be getting deeper and deeper into gardening. I'm gonna reach back out to some of our guests in the past, specifically my co-host Ginger at Not For Nothing, because she loves the gardening side and she has a really big green thumb. Maybe get her and Nana and I. And we'll see if Joey wants to get involved on a whole gardening talk and go from there. Also, we're going to start getting into infrastructure. We're going to talk about fencing. We're going to talk about barns, sheds, garden plots. We're going to talk about raised bed as alternative to in-ground gardening. We're going to talk about container gardening, all the above. And we're going to get into equipment. I'm going to start an equipment talk this season also. So I do want to encourage each and every person to stick around and start coming back weekly for the 9-Acre Talk Podcast. But this week, what we're going to talk about is the climate has changed in our world. We all know it, or in the United States, I should say. The climate has changed. The administration has changed in the United States. That is changing things, including the ag sector. The ag sector, we do have a new Secretary of Ag. And she, Miss Rollins is her name, is already implementing changes, already looking at USDA, looking at some of our alternative means of production agriculture. And as small farmers and hobby farmers, I think this climate is going to change a bit for the better for all of us, including she's already trying to address this blaring problem in the United States of the overpricing of eggs. Now, with that being said, as I get another drink of coffee, all of us who are homesteaders, we, of course, our first addiction becomes those chickens. That's the first in I always call it the gateway into homesteading and becoming the crazy chicken lady, the crazy chicken dad, because we've got those chickens. And at a time such as this, when everyone else is relying on $9 a dozen eggs in the grocery store, we kind of all sip our coffee with our pinky up and like, we're better than you because we got eggs coming out every day. Now, when we actually put a pencil to those chickens and to that egg that we are harvesting in our house that we have in our house, you know, getting from those hens, if you actually put a pencil to that, I don't know as that we can really braggadocious a whole lot about that our eggs are so cheap. Because if you figure in your infrastructure, you figured in that you built that coop, you built that run, even if you're free ranging those chickens, you're still going to have a place that you're putting them up for the night, or else the coons pack off half of the raccoons and the coyotes and the predators all get after them, or the neighbor's dog or whatever. You still are going to have some infrastructure costs. We haven't even talked about the feed yet of that. We haven't talked about the waterer, the feeder, the all of the paraphernalia that goes along with the chicken world. But at the same time, the reassurance that all of us homesteaders have, and the fact that we have the egg production factory on our place daily, we're not worried about the fact that eggs are in short supply in the grocery store and they're over $9 a dozen right now. Hopefully, most of us have stored up as those hens in the summer, we know, just turn on, and they pretty soon we're up to eyeballs deep in poultry eggs and embryos everywhere. But we're just egg rich. Hopefully you're coming up with storage solutions for all of those. Some of the easiest ways to store eggs for an extended period of time when you have that excess of eggs is to freeze them. You can use a muffin pan, and you place an egg or two per hole in a muffin pan. You put it in the freezer. You allow that to freeze. It turns into an egg hockey puck. You pop those out. You put them in a freezer bag, and you put them back in said freezer. And then when you want an egg, you just pull one out, throw it in the pan, and you've got an egg. Easy, simple way to go. Some of the more extenuating ways of saving those eggs up are we can water glass those eggs. We can put them in a jar of lime water and store them in a cool, dry place. In that jar, we will gently place those eggs. We do not want to be using those eggs right now that are subject to freeze in these extreme temperatures like they're saying is going to be here in southeast Kansas over the next week of minus 20 degrees. Well, I can guarantee you every egg we're taking out of that coop, we're planning on eating that egg within the next few weeks. Next week to 2 weeks, because they're going straight to the refrigerator, because the likelihood of them being whole and the bloom not broke on them so that it prevents bacteria from getting into that egg is very slim to none. Because the freezing process, as we know, it grows and it micro cracks that shell, and that egg is no longer good to set out at room temperature, say on the counter. Yes, for you people who are unfamiliar with chickens and with egg production, if you have unwashed eggs, they can set on your counter for month plus with no problem whatsoever, as long as it's not 100 degrees out. But at normal room temperature, they can set, actually, we have had eggs that set on our counter for up to 2 months and are perfectly fine. As long as you don't wash that magical coating off of them, they're perfectly fine. So that magical coating works hand in hand with this lime water, and you will place the eggs, cover them in hydrated lime water mixture, and then they will stay, or they will overwinter in that water. You'll pull them out, you'll crack them in the pan, and you'll have eggs. Now, old school way of doing it still works. There's several different. And in the future on 9 Acre Family Farms, we're going to have a video all about egg saving and stuff like that. We've had some in the past and things that we did to utilize or save those excess of eggs. One thing that we always did was we pickled excess of eggs. Really old school, really good way of saving those, turning those into food for later. You can or pickle those eggs up. We love a hot pickled egg around here, and vinegar and spices, and voila, hard boil an egg, peel the shell, put it in a vinegar solution with lots of spices, some chopped hot pepper vegetables, stuff like that, some jalapenos, some habaneros. Let it set as long as, your acid level is high enough in that vinegar. You're not going to have any bacteria in there. Yum, healthy, delicious snack. Just your friends might not like to hang out with you after a while. But those kind of storage solutions for those excess of eggs, you will find out as being a homesteader, are something that helps you extend that food, this wonderful, bountiful harvest that you bring from all your fruits of labor into your homestead. You can extend that season throughout the year so that we are not reliant on the grocery stores. We're not reliant on big farming. We're not reliant on the ever scary middleman between the farmer and the grocery store, where all that markup happens in between there. And if you can't have chickens on your place, you don't want to deal with chickens, talk to a local farmer who has chickens. See if you can buy directly from the farm. Go to your farmers markets. Build relationships. Build bartering relationships, because we all have some kind of product to offer up to others. Here on the 9 acres, we raised pork, and we do a really good job of it. We raised chickens. We raised pasture-raised, Cornish cross chickens, and we had egg layers. So we would trade some of that protein, some of that pork, some of that chicken. We would trade eggs for other services or other items that we needed. Not everything has to be about the almighty green dollar. Some of our most valuable things that we have got in return from the work on our small farm or homestead come from bartering, not from directly selling or turning to cash. And the nice thing about when you don't turn it to cash is nothing can be taxed there. Correct? When I'm trading a service for a service, there's no exchange of money. Now, those chickens, if you are one of the many right now that I have seen through all the different social medias, the Facebooks of this world, the Instagrams of this world, even on YouTube, people complaining and saying, my chickens have quit laying eggs. What's the matter? My chickens have quit laying eggs. I can't even make it in this world. What did I do wrong? Are they sick? Did they get the avian flu? Is it a conspiracy? Oh my goodness. They put something in the feed and now my chickens won't lay. No, Susie. It's called nature. It's called God's design. They're supposed to slow down in the winter. It's normal. It's based on daylight. It's based on their biological clock. And it's by ultimate design by God, the way He designed the chicken. They have to recoup. They have to slow down. They have to recharge over the winter. They'll stop for a little while. But guess what? When that daylight gets to be 12 hours a day, naturally, they're going to kick back up in production. They're going to go right back to the old Henrietta the hen, or, Miss Fluffy Pants, or, Featherina. She's going to go back to giving you another egg a day. So, calmness is our friends. Calm, my friends. It'll come back. And before you go out buying a whole nother set, because, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to just turn them all into chicken noodles because they quit laying. I got to get a whole new set. Whoa, back, Sally. Okay? Now, there does come a time that, their value now does not become a daily egg. It does become chicken and dumplings. Nothing wrong with that. And usually we'll get more into that when we get more and more into chicken talk. But just be patient until that daylight turns into 12 full hours of daylight above the 50-degree mark. Don't get nervous. Now, you can do some things to help boost that egg production. You can feed higher protein feed. That will help because it keeps them internally warmer. By far the best thing you can do if you're just bound and determined you need eggs is you can put an artificial light in there. I would suggest you put it on a timer, as what has been done by us. That's what they do at the big egg laying facilities, is they have artificial light. They have 12 hours worth of light every day so that those chickens just lay like a machine. So you can do the same thing at home. It does not have to be a heat lamp. It can just be a light bulb. Just a regular 60-watt light bulb in their coop, in their laying area, and have it set to a timer. So if you're only getting 8 to 9 hours worth of daylight now, have it where the timer turns on to extend that time to 12 hours. That's all you need to do. And voila, like magic, they will start laying again. It's in their DNA. God designed them that way. So, I go to all this talk about eggs and chickens and all that to be here with you, friend, to both comfort you, and hopefully you've learned a little bit about that, if you didn't know it already. But also to reassure you, just like the current administration change, just like the changes that are happening in the federal government with the USDA and everything else, not to mention the DOGE that everybody is nervous about and up in arms, everything works in God's plan. Everything will come to light. Everything will be better. Everything will work out. As long as we continue our road to hoe, per se, as long as we continue down our path, we put in the work, we will see the fruits of the labor. So, my only word of advice for today is the same words I've gave you since this channel basically began. Farm on. Keep strong. We love you. and so does God. Till next time, good day.